What's up, YouTube? Welcome to Match Dads Podcast. My name is Rugley, joined here today by the one, the only, the Pea Sizzle. It's Cody Patrick. What's up, dude?
Not much. I've been playing a lot of Skyrim. That's about it.
Skyrim, huh?
Spare time, yeah.
I've
Just
never
waiting for the
played.
next one to get to FNM.
I've never played Skyrim before.
It's an okay game. Broken. It's a broken game.
I've heard good things. It's just not really my style.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we didn't come here today to talk about Skyrim. We came here today to talk about
No.
Gruul Monsters.
We did.
You made a little bit of a name for yourself last year playing Gruul Monsters. You only played in 2 LCQs, and you managed to come in 9th place on the leaderboard at the end of the season. Only 2 events. There's people in there that played in all 4 events and didn't even make the top 16.
Skill issue.
Yeah.
Straight skill issues.
So that was on the back of a finals finish, and then
Yes.
a top 8 finish, right? Or
Top
was it
four,
a
yeah.
top 4?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
crazy,
so-
dude.
Yeah. I've really like come into this deck like very, very excited to play it all the time. So if like I'm feeling good playing the deck, you can do really good with the deck.
Yeah, I think I was counting, and we don't have all of the data from every FNM in 2023, but I'm pretty sure you won more FNMs than anybody else. Also,
Yeah.
I counted 6 FNM wins from you, and the next closest person was Mitch with 4.
Yeah, I picked up the deck a week before the first LCQ I went to,
Yeah,
and then I think 4 FNMs after that I got like it was 3-0, 3-0, 3-0, 3-0, like
yeah,
straight through. It was
yeah,
really really good times.
yeah. Gruul Monsters is very sweet. Now, I could do my best to try to describe it, but Cody, I want to hear from you. In your own words, please tell me, what is Gruul Monsters?
It's in a very it's an aggro deck that really abuses fast mana starts. Just get from 1 to 3 or 4 in the first 2 turns of the game and just suffocate your opponent very quickly with damage and being able and like evasion.
Yeah.
So always the damage is connecting all the time, every turn.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's very quick. It's very
So
fast. And
I have been saying this for quite a while, and I'm sure that you have probably heard me say this before, Cody, but maybe not everybody watching has. I think that Gruul Monsters is the best proactive deck in Canadian Highlander right now.
yes.
I have heard, we've done several of these interviews already, and I've heard from so many different people that Gruul Monsters is their worst matchup. Gruul Monsters is hard to beat. And even people that I haven't interviewed. I was just talking to Ryan Favor, I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago, and he was saying that it's a rough matchup for Mono Red as well, because once your creatures get so big, his burn spells can't kill him. So like, there's so many of the proactive decks. Travis said, Death and Taxes, or Mono White Aggro said that Gruul Monsters is a tough matchup. Luke, Bant Seeker Walk, probably one of our most accomplished players, said that Gruul Monsters is a bad matchup. Who else did we interview? I don't remember, it was Tanner, or maybe it was, I don't remember who else it was. Somebody else said Gruul Monsters, tough matchup. It's like, I genuinely think that this deck's ability to like use those fast mana starts and start with one of these crazy 3 and 4 drops is like way above what anything else can do. And there's other riffs on this, kind of like the Naya initiative deck. Very, very similar strategy. The sweet part about playing Gruul Monsters is that you're going to play Price of Progress.
Yes, I do.
It's like, that's a huge upside to not adding that 3rd color. And I don't think you lose any velocity, and you get to abuse the fast mana even more, I think.
It's really funny actually, is that the deck before Gruul Monsters was Naya Initiative. It was the deck I was playing, and I was really starting to dislike how many like non-basic lands I was playing, and how many times like I had to like plan ahead to like what lands I had to get. So again, it just really took off like going to another deck that has the same game plan as Naya Initiative.
Right.
It really.
But it's more, it
helps
takes
de-stress.
it takes a similar game plan, and it really kind of focuses in on that get your opponent dead thing.
Yes.
You know, there's not these like mid-range creatures, or sort of like creatures that try to tax your opponents. Like, those cards are really really good in the combo matchups. You know, things like Thalia, etc. The other white cards, they're really good in the combo matchups. But we really don't have a ton of combo decks around here, and the mid range mirror is like a constant, right? And having these evasive, hasty creatures is like the way that you beat those matchups.
Yes, because like the creatures are always small and they don't like they just don't attack ever. And
Yeah, they can't get through on the offensive,
stuff.
and they don't block worth a crap. So they just get run over by your larger and evasive threats.
Yeah.
Let's bring the audience into the Scryfold, or sorry, the Moxfield view. There it is. Everybody can see the deck list. We're just gonna kind of go over this one card at a time. We'll start on the left with the Planeswalkers. Did you want to start somewhere else?
Yeah. No. The Planeswalkers are great. I was just gonna like comment on the best Gruul Planeswalkers.
Oh yeah, the best Gruul Planeswalkers ever. Go ahead.
Yeah, let's just start off with Wrenn and 6. Wrenn and 6 is the only 2-drop Planeswalker ever printed. I promise. Don't look up Tibble ever, please. But it's really good at immediately like killing your opponent's fast starts because dorks, and then also recurring fetches to just make sure you keep hitting your land drops, because after turn 2 you never want to draw lands again. So just being able to,
that's something that I hadn't thought about for Wrenn and 6 is like being really really good in the mirror match.
Yes, yeah. It takes care of a lot of things. That's how I won the quarters against Ryan, was just turn 1 Wrenn and 6, and it was just abysmal for him. Also, just recurring like any of like your utility lands with Sekenzan and Beseju. They also like I had a game last FNM that I went to where I blew up Mitch's artifact stuff. I think it was like 8 times, and we just stayed alive.
Having Wrenn and 6 plus Beseju against that deck is like, it does not get any better than that.
Wrenn and 6 does a lot, and it's really great at 2 mana. I play Chandra Torch of Defiance because it's my favorite Planeswalker ever printed. It really is just a pet card.
Nothing to be ashamed of there. I always have a pet card or two in my decks.
And 4 is the magic number for toughness in this format, I feel.
Yeah.
And so her minus is incredibly essential at just getting like a Seasoned Dungeoneer out of the way.
I agree.
Undermountain Adventure out of the way. Omnath. That new Aragorn, that 4/4 Monarch.
Yep.
Yeah, just all the big guys that will stop me in my tracks.
Yep.
And then just perpetual card advantage, and then also pumping out mana to let you do 2 things in a turn. That kind of stuff.
Yeah, the ramp aspect of Chandra Torch of Defiance is my favorite part of her.
Yes.
She comes down and kills something immediately, and on the next turn you got to play like at least 6 mana's worth of cards.
Yeah, it's absolutely explosive. And then the hamster slinging man.
Minskin Boo, Timeless Heroes.
The most broken card that everyone talks about getting pointed. He's a 4/4 with trample and haste, and then it's a 7/7, and then they're dead. It's a very fast clock that draws you cards. It deals damage, draws cards, and that's...
Yeah, the card is absolutely busted. Like no matter what, it's almost always a 2-for-1. Yes. And then if it sticks around for a turn, you're talking about a 4-for-1, or actually it's a 4-for-0 at that point. Like you can't say enough about this card. It's insane. Moving on to the creatures, you have, let's see, how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mana dorks, plus also down here in the enchantments, you have a Utopia Sprawl and a Wild Growth. So these are part of the reason you can consistently have these explosive starts. Unlike the mono white deck, where they just have Ancient Tomb and City of Traders and then the Moxen to power out their fast starts, you have all of that plus mana dorks. You are having way more 7-card hands where you're playing 3 drops and 4 drops on turn 2, right?
Yes, the consistency is just off the charts to just slam. The biggest dork on the field and will be the biggest for like the next 2 following turns.
Yeah.
Like very easily.
Yeah, that's the big draw to playing this. I think is you're really taking that aspect of having a busted fast start and turning it up to 10.
Yes, 11. 11.
Turning it up to 11. And then in the one drop spot, you've also got a Hex Drinker.
Yes, and really good segue because with all these dorks, you can make that Hex Drinker like leveled up all the way by turn 3 pretty easily as well. Like he's the craziest piker on the planet. Or is it a piker 2/1? 2/1 mana 2/1?
Yeah.
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 I'm so right when I said that.
that card is very, very sweet. And all just for 1 mana. You've also got a little Monkey Boy, Ragavan, Nimble Pilferer. We're all familiar with him. Rolling into the 2-drop slot, there's a whole lot going on here.
Yes.
So let's talk about some of the new cards. NT Cynical of the Sun. This is a card that I have been playing with in Mardu Initiative.
Yes.
And it card is absolutely cracked. The fact that it not only puts a +1/+1 counter on, but gives a trample to the creature and lets you filter through your deck at the same time. It really turns those fast starts into like being able to go the distance, giving you a lot of reach, being able to draw extra cards and push through damage. This card is absolutely cracked.
Yeah, it not just for like my deck, it is so how's the word? It does like a lot for everybody and everything in every archetype, and it's like that permanent buff and trample is just so ridiculous for just all the creatures that I'm allowed to have in this
deck. You've also got, what is this? A Sharp-Eyed Rookie. This is from Murders of Karlov Manor, which by the time this podcast comes out is all legal. So it's a 2 mana 2/2 with Vigilance.
Yeah.
When it enters the battlefield under your control, if its power is greater than Sharp-Eyed Rookie's power or its toughness is greater than Sharp-Eyed Rookie's toughness, put a +1/+1 counter on Sharp-Eyed Rookie and investigate. So isn't that like Evolve?
Yes, it's exactly like Evolve, except you investigate. So I put this card in because further on we'll talk about Broadside Bombardiers, but it makes artifacts for Broadside Bombardiers. It has Vigilance, which again, like it might turn the deck a little more mid-range than aggro, but still, like being able to attack and then also block the creatures that
100%
people are sending at you. It really allows you to just stay alive a little bit longer.
Yeah.
And then if you don't want to chuck those clues, you're drawing cards. And I saw this card and I was like, yo, this is like the best like second copy of Quirion Beastcaller I think I'm gonna get. So I just wanted to jam it in.
And it's getting to like have something stay around after all the dust settles and the clue. It's just really, really good.
Yes. Extremely
like
good.
The card almost always replaces itself one way or the other. You've also got the Quirion Beastcaller that you just mentioned. First of all, the art on this card is insane.
The Beastcaller?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the art on it. So it's whenever you cast a creature, you put a counter on it, and then when it dies, you get to distribute those counters elsewhere.
Yeah, it has always been plus swords. Every single time I cast it, it gets swords immediately.
That's what you want though. Then they don't have removal for your bigger and more threatening things, right?
Yep.
Good lightning rod. Yeah, good lightning rod. You've got old modern staple Tarmogoyf. Card might have been outclassed in modern, but it certainly has never been outclassed in Canadian Highlander.
I've cut that card like 3 times.
Every time it gets back in.
Man, this needs to be Tarmogoyf right now. So I'm never cutting him again. Third time's the charm. Swear to God.
You've got a little bit of utility in a Cankerbloom and a Maulock. I know when we talked to Ryan Brown about Naya Initiative, Maulock is one of his favorite cards in the deck.
Yeah. I also love Maulock.
He tends to cast it as a 2/2 or go get it off of Green Sun Zenith. I would imagine you're getting Ravenous on this card a lot, right?
No, actually.
Really?
7 mana is still a lot of mana.
Yeah, it's fun though.
But I'm almost always still casting it as like a 4 mana 4/4. blowing up something.
Yeah.
Or yeah, it's pretty rare still that I'm not getting Ravenous on that card all that often. But still, it's still being huge. It's still huge because it's a fireball. It's a fireball that kills a thing, and then
Yeah, that card is nuts too.
Mhm.
All right, let's get into the 3 drops because that is where I feel the spicy stuff really starts to go. So let's first talk about Indoraptor. I know you absolutely love this card,
There's so
and
much about this
you were
dinosaur.
you were talking about it last time we were at F&M together, and I didn't even know what the card was. I had
Mhm.
seen it, but I didn't read it or didn't read it very thoroughly. So I know you wanna download about this card.
Wow. It's I think the most broken card in the whole deck. And then like Questing Beast and then Minsc and Boon and Questing Beast are like right behind it. Um, it's very easy to just like play a 2 drop. Like you can just curve out 2 drop attack, and then you suddenly have a 7/6, a 3 mana 7/6 out of nowhere, and then you can just pitch a Fury and ping itself and kill their board, and then they have to either like take 7 or sacrifice their last creature they have. I love this dinosaur.
One that I don't know if I've ever seen anybody else play before is Furnace Punisher.
I am a big believer in Furnace Punisher. Nobody like it's a blood moon that damages them very like it's guaranteed to like
Yeah,
it doesn't say haste on the card, but on their upkeep they're taken to immediately
right.
because it's like you've boosted it out on either turn 1 or turn 2 with a
Yeah,
mock start, and it's like a lot of people are really uh, attracted to like 3 color and 4 color mana bases.
right.
So it's going to deal like a good like 4 to 6 damage by not even entering combat on its own. So I really love that card, and I think it's like one of the also one of the top place cards and like rankings as while it's in the deck.
You've got a Breaches Eager Pillager.
Yeah, yeah. So
This is a card that I was considering for Mardu Initiative, and I haven't put it in the deck or tried it out at all yet. But I mean, always getting something when this guy attacks seems really good.
yes, yes, that's the downside of on Crop Crasher is that it's every other turn you like make
Right.
something unblockable. This is either a Fabled and Mirror Breaker Goblin attacker, it's an on Crop Crasher, or it's a Lalia. It's like it's just this big
Right, just
combination
for
of
for a little bit more
yeah,
redundancy, if you will.
yeah. Like and just being able to like choose your options to like solidify like what your goal is at any
Yeah.
point in the game,
And again, the first strike on that card, really
which
messing up
allows
combat math.
yeah
Like that's
giving
part
it
of the
an
reason why the
ability that
card just
allows it to attack
yeah
is
yeah it just really lets it excel.
mm-hmm.
All right, so broadside bombardiers. We spent quite a bit of time talking with Ryan about this card as well. It's absolutely nuts.
It's so nuts. And like even Jarrett has been like super loving the card at like the 2 times I played him in like the last month at FNM.
Yeah,
That thing comes down and you're chucking the dorks that you don't need anymore. You're chucking your Moxen that you've already used up, and
your
you're
clue
chucking
tokens from the investigator.
yeah your map tokens from your Sentinel, your Goblin tokens from your Rabble Master effects. It's just yeah, crazy card.
It's another one of those. It's like almost always a 2-for-1, and it just adds a good amount of mobility to your cards.
Mm-hmm.
So many interesting 3 drops in here.
Yeah.
You've got the Rampaging Ferocidon, Reckless Storm Seeker, Sentinel of the Nameless City. That's the one that you just mentioned. So this is a 3 mana
Yes.
3/4 with Vigilance, and when it enters and attacks, you get a map token.
Yeah.
I have not been 100% sold on this card yet, but what I am sold on is map tokens.
Yes, map tokens are so sweet when all of your creatures say trample or
Yeah,
flying or menace.
yeah. I think that map
And
tokens are better than clues. Just in
yeah,
general, in a vacuum, I think map
yes.
tokens are better than clue tokens.
Yeah, anything that involves putting like more stuff into your graveyard is just already like power crept, in my opinion, in
Yeah,
some like degree.
yeah,
Um, and I also again, like saying 4 is the magic number. This thing is a
Yep.
3/4 for
It's got 4
3
toughness.
mana.
Yeah.
Like how you said about Ryan saying he couldn't kill my stuff.
Right.
This
It's
thing's got
like
9 to lightning bolt.
you just like have to you just have to 2-for-1 yourself to kill the card.
Yeah. So
You've got a couple of Rabble Masters. You've got the original Goblin Rabble Master, and then a Squee Dubious Monarch as well. You've got Miglaw's Maze Crusher. You played this card against me a couple of times, and it has so much text on it.
yes, again another great reoccurring theme in this deck. Just text for no reason. It gives itself Vigilance and Menace, so it's evasion and able to block after going into combat. Blowing up just like a construct token, that's like a big problem. That's like the only thing that gets bigger than my own creatures are construct tokens.
Sure.
And then the self pump is very always gusto, always very good.
Yeah. And I mean, with nothing else, he is a 3-mana 4/4.
Yeah.
Interesting. Moving on to the 4 drops. Interestingly, we had quite a bit of conversation with Ryan about Halana and Elena partners. Basically, as a second copy of Reckless Stormseeker, but then those +1/+1 counters that it's putting on everything is getting to stay behind.
Yeah. Ryan keeps saying he doesn't like this card, but I'm a huge believer of Halana and Elena. The permanent buff,
Yeah.
like it's like it's just you make your creatures bigger than everything else. Like what's wrong? What's wrong with this card? Nothing. And then it gets boosted. Like if you put like a Shadow Spear or like any of the other pumping synergies on it,
Right.
it's making everything else bigger.
One thing that I have noticed is pretty effective against you in general is flying, and this card has reach and first strike.
Yeah. This oh gosh, what did I blocked something the other day.
Yeah, it can shore up
Awesome.
shore up or like close up that little weakness. It's not a huge weakness, but this is something that just it lets you plan for it, I guess.
Yes.
Okay.
Like,
Ansrag, the Quake Mole. You were so excited when this card got spoiled. Tell me about it.
it's I love creature cards that have base power and toughness equal or more than its CMC. So it being a 4-mana 8/4 is like the most heartwarming stats to have ever played.
Okay, hold on, because I have to shout out my boy Yargle and Multani.
Yeah. That thing is huge.
6-mana 18/4, I think, or something like that.
18/6.
16.
It's
6-mana
yeah.
18/6.
Yeah, he's like this is that, but it's just incredible. And then when it becomes blocked, you untap all of your creatures, and there's
Right.
an additional combat step. So you get to untap all your dorks, which allows you to do more stuff in your second main phase
Yep.
if you need to. It allows you to attack with those dorks, which is okay, cool, I guess.
Right.
And then it has a 7-mana activated ability, which is a lot, that it has to be blocked every combat. So you only have to activate it once, and it's already starting to just like it's gonna get in. It's gonna get in. It's gonna get blocked,
and then you get to untap and do it again.
Yeah.
So it's like a lure and an insurrection on the same card, right?
Yeah. A lot of good text on that card, and a lot of people are doubting, like so much doubt on this card.
I mean, the fact that it's an 8/4 that like dares you to block it is
Yeah.
For me, that's gonna be enough.
Mm-hmm.
You've also got this new card from the Clue set, Headliner Scarlet. The first time that I read this card, I was like, "This does what?"
Same. It
And
does.
I did. That was
What?
only after reading the first 3 lines of text.
Mm-hmm.
But then also you get to draw a card every turn, which is like, okay, sure, it does that too.
Face down as well. So you're giving your opponents no information.
Right.
And that's just like so crazy.
Yeah.
I think this is like the first card that's been a creature with a I forget the card name that just makes everything unblockable, or
Yeah.
it makes it so your opponent's creatures can't block.
Yep.
That's just such a crazy
Yeah,
ability.
this is a
Such
crazy
damage
crazy
with
ability on a 4-mana 3/3 with haste, nonetheless.
haste.
Haste, nonetheless. You've
Haste.
also got this territorial Hellkite in here. I know Ryan loves this card.
Yeah.
Red Ryan.
Yes.
Yum. It's a 4-mana 6/5 with flying and haste. So 4 mana, it gets in there right away. Has flying, but that's not all. At the beginning of combat on your turn, choose an opponent at random. That territorial Hellkite didn't attack last combat. That attacks that player this turn. So it only gets to attack every other turn, is basically what that says.
Yes. And again, it's 4 mana for a 6/5, so
Right.
it's also really awesome.
A lot of the times, if you're casting this and attacking with it, the game is just over anyway. So
Yep. Game's over.
it
People
doesn't
scoop.
it doesn't need to stick around and be able to do it again a couple turns later.
No.
Questing Beast, which you had mentioned, is in the top 3 most busted cards in the deck. I'm inclined to agree. Questing Beast is a good reason to play this deck. It basically just does everything that the deck wants to do. It's hard to block. It has haste, and then it also has that additional value of whenever it deals combat damage, it can also deal damage to planeswalkers.
Yeah.
As if one Questing Beast wasn't enough, you've got a second one in the Rampaging Raptor.
Why did they print a red one?
This one has Trample, though, which the Questing Beast does not. So block it all you want to, it's still going to get through. Not only that, it also has Fire Breathing.
Why do they keep putting text on the card? They just keep putting more text on the card.
It also does the damage to the Planeswalkers thing, same as Questing Beast. Ulvenwald Oddity is another really fun card in this deck.
Yes.
It's a casual 4/4 with Trample and Haste for 4 mana. How many times have you transformed it, though?
I only remember the once against Zoe.
Okay, but it's been transformed before?
It has been transformed. It was the finals of an FMM, I think, like 2 months ago. We just got into the most ugliest board stall where we couldn't attack each other.
Yeah, I remember this game.
And I was like, man, I don't think I can win in any way. And then Moose, just a Moose, it was just there suddenly. And yeah, I got to transform it. That's the same turn I cast it, which was very fun, very silly.
If you can transform an Ulvenwald Oddity, then you can pay 7 mana for a Mallock, and you can pay 7 mana to activate Anzrag.
I know. Maybe. Well, we have to get into the position where it's a board stall. Or I'm drawing a land every turn.
Last of the 4 drops are, of course, a Caves of Chaos and Adventurer, and an Undermountain Adventurer. Again, those got to be in the top 5, at least to top 10 most powerful cards in the deck. Being able to take the initiative with the help from some of these fast starts from the fast mana and the mana dorks, so you can do it ahead of schedule.
Yeah,
can't beat it.
No, you can't. Again, with like 4 being the magic number for toughness, I put Adventurer like a good number of slots above. Like I put Undermountain Adventurer above Caves of Chaos Adventurer. But yeah, one having trample and one being a 5/6 the next turn. I don't understand how you're gonna win ever.
And then of course you've got 5 drops. I love Glorybringer. I've won a lot of games with this card. It's always 2 for 1.
Four's a nice number again.
It's another one of these creatures that a lot of the times if you're casting this and attacking with it, the game is just over.
Yes.
And of course a Fury. Everybody loves a Fury.
I love Fury.
All right, so we don't have a ton of non-creature things. Let's start with the enchantments. We already talked about Utopia Sprawl and Wild Growth, those being mana dorks that your opponent can't bolt or Fury or swords. Basically, the only thing that kills these is like a wasteland, and that's only if you put it on a non-basic land, which we're going to get to that later, but you have a ton of basic lands in your deck. So
yeah.
You also have a Court of Garenbrig. Now, when we were talking to Ryan Brown about Naya Initiative, he also has a Court of Garenbrig in his deck. And previously, the dads had a conversation with Jeremiah about he's low on this card right now, just because when you get really late into the game, it's a dead draw. And like
Yeah.
if you're behind, it's not very good when you're behind. Like you get to take the Monarch once and draw an additional card, but then if you're behind, your opponent can probably take it back from you, and it didn't actually get you anywhere. As 3 mana, draw a card later. That
Yeah.
being said, if you start the game with Manador Core to Garenbrig on turn 2, or like, if you have like your Mox or whatever, play this card ahead of schedule when your opponent hasn't had a chance to develop their board at all, and it's really really hard to beat.
Yeah, truthfully so. I'm a little biased in saying even if you're behind, it can still help you like do a little work to help you catch up because you get to forge every upkeep still. Like you're still growing your guys up. Um, like the doubling of the monarchy isn't like too important. I mean, being the king isn't that good. Um,
Yeah, they get a draw
but
card. Yeah.
yeah, I was so on board with this card when it printed. I couldn't believe they printed this card at all when I saw it for the first time.
The one time that I've ever played it, I played it on turn 2 off of Birds of Paradise, and that Birds of Paradise won the game on turn 5.
Yeah, that's the first time I also played it. It was with the
Yeah.
birds,
You
and
also have,
they
sorry, go
died
ahead.
fast. They died very fast.
Also, you have a Huntmaster's Redemption. This is a card that a lot of people have talked about, but I haven't actually seen it in play, I don't think. In theory, like looking at it on paper, the card seems very, very good. It's almost like a second copy of Fable of the Mirror Breaker.
Yes.
It lets you, the part that like the part that I'm not and the part that I'm not totally sold on is the chapter 2 ability. Like getting to search
Yeah.
up a creature is great, but having to sacrifice a creature to do so is like seems kind of bad, especially if the creature you're sacrificing is the beast token that it made. That being said, if you're ahead, it seems very, very good. But from a place of parity or when you're behind, I don't think it's that great.
Uh. Well, if
I
with
think
the
I think similar to
yeah.
Court of Garenbrig, though, it's one of these things where this card is insane when you play it really early on.
Mhm. Yeah, it'll the that's what like a lot of people usually say is they don't like that second chapter ability, but I cut Eldritch Evolution for this card
Okay,
because I can get a Fury off of a Dork with this card, which is
sure,
like as you're saying, like you can't really catch up again.
right.
Um,
Also, like if you
even
just curve Dork into this, and then you can just kind of ignore that second ability and just do nothing with it,
yeah,
and
you're
then
just
you're
like
attacking for what, like
yeah, eight
on
with trample,
8 with
yeah,
trample on turn 3. I
and
mean,
it can be a
it's
whole
good.
lot. Yeah, well, yeah. The only card I usually search up with this is just Fury,
Yeah,
and it's always been good for me.
yeah. Fury is
And
never not bad.
and it's always it is just again just a modal card where you just assess your situation and then go into your toolbox to get whatever is going to help you a
Sure.
lot of the time.
I can
I've gotten
imagine.
mixed friends off this thing, so
I
I
can
just don't need
imagine getting
to.
like picking up Balak off of it too.
Yeah, yeah, I've done that. I've gone and gotten Inti just because
Sure,
like that was that
because
was going to be
empty.
the help to push through the damage.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
And then the last of the enchantments is good old Fable of the Mirror Breaker. Everybody knows what that card does. Let's move on to the artifacts. So fast
Yep.
mana, fast mana, fast mana, fast mana, right? Chrome
Yeah,
Mox, Mox Emerald, Mox Ruby, Soul Ring. Those are your points. You got Mox, Mox, Soul Ring. Really, really clean spread in this 2-color deck. You don't have to mess around with trying to figure out what your 10th point is. 10th point
no.
is, and then you get the incentive of having that extra mana from the Soul Ring.
Yeah. I was on triple mosh for a little bit, but Soul Ring is just like so much more explosive for just getting up to 4 and 5 very easily.
Yeah, yeah, it
Um,
lets you play those 4 drops on turn 2, real easy.
yeah, that was another pull to the deck was just the clean point spread was just hey, let's play these things that make you go fast, and I like
Right,
going fast, so we're
right,
going fast.
yeah. Instants and sorceries. You've got. Oh wait, I skipped over some artifacts, didn't I? You've also got a Shadow Spear and a Smuggler's Copter.
Yeah.
Smuggler's Copter, like Inti kind of makes Smuggler's Copter look like Inti kind of See, I told you I do it all the time.
Yeah.
Uh, Smuggler's Copter was the only creature that could kind of do the Inti thing for a long time, and now Inti makes Smuggler's Copter look like Buffoon.
Well,
This
yeah,
card's still very,
yeah,
very good.
yeah, a little bit. Yes, yeah. Smuggy C is like the best unmulliganer ever. I wasn't
Oh,
playing it at
sure.
first, and then Travis, who's on Mono White, was like, "Dude, cast this off the Ancient Tomb. You'll never forget it." And I'm like, "Okay, I guess." And then I did that, and then I crewed it with an NT, and then, and then
Yeah,
I
having
went
that
ham
and
with it.
Inti in play at the same time is insane. I've done that before
Yeah.
too.
Hmm.
All right, so moving on to the instants and sorceries. A lot of this is just utility, or sorry, a lot of this is just removal. You've got the bolt, the oh, what is this? Delayed fire blast, fireball, delayed blast, fireball. This is like a
Hmm.
pyroclasm that you can foretell.
Yeah, it's a one-sided like
Oh,
pyroclasm
it's
deals 2 damage.
one-sided.
Yeah, so
This
I
is
wanted to try
really
this out
good.
because Headliner Scarlet becomes I think the fourth or fifth like exile effect the deck has.
Sure.
So if I'm if even if I just naturally draw this, I'm pushing damage with tramplers,
Yep.
and also just if I exile it off the top, it's just an absolute blowout, and it's just
Absolutely.
I cut Fork Bolt because if I do that, this or Fork Bolt, like this is killing a lot more things.
Right.
With a
If
lot more
yeah,
things in
right.
it.
If Fork
So
Bolt can kill a couple things, then this thing can probably kill more.
yeah, so
Yeah.
I'm just trying it out, and I hope it goes well when I draw it. I really am.
And of course, the Pyrokinesis as the second copy of Fury. You've
Other way
also
around.
got
Other way
a
around.
mental
Something respectable.
misstep.
Yeah, this has won me like this is in top 5 cards in the deck. I think this card's won me so many games. Just like being able to either stop a Ragavan getting killed, some like combo tutor, like Vampiric tutor, mystical tutor, anything like that.
Yeah.
Um, uh, stopping other people's dorks so they can like it just slows them down. This
Yeah.
this mental misstep has like held its
It counters a ton of really, really good removal spells.
yeah, just like out of nowhere, it just yeah, it would just counter something that you didn't even think it would. That
Speaking
really helps
of
you in your game plan.
speaking of countering removal spells, you've also got a Legolas's Quick Reflexes.
Yeah,
This is another one of those cards that's almost always a 2-for-1, right? And then
yes,
you can get
it's
real, real crazy with like mana dorks and stuff. I heard a story of an Undermountain adventurer with this card.
yeah, I've done that. It's
So like,
it's I've untapped a territorial Hellkite with this card. This
oh,
is this is
oh,
to
let's
keep printing
go.
stupid green cards, and it's so wonderful.
Stupid green cards. The original stupid green card, Berserk.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
might be the only deck that gets to play Berserk. My
And that's
question is, and the thing that everybody wants to know is, have you ever used this as a removal spell?
yes. And again, going back, I had to be like on a construct that was about to get too big.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've had to do it on a construct. I think I did it on a seasoned engineer once too, but it sucks. It sucks.
Berserk is nuts. And then, of
Yeah,
course, like I mentioned, Price of Progress. This card used to be pointed. It's not pointed anymore.
still does what it's supposed to do.
It still
I
does
have
what it's supposed to
never
do.
done less
What's
than 8 damage with this card.
never less than 8?
Yeah,
Holy cow. What's the most you've done, you think?
I think 12. 12. That was against I think it was Jack. I played Jack like quite a bit after I put in Price of Progress, and
Yeah.
yeah, just
It just gets to a point where I don't even count. I just know that I'm dead, so I just scoop up my cards.
yep, yep,
Because
yep,
I'm,
yep.
I'm pretty sure Price of Progress has dealt me more than 12 damage before.
Yeah, as
And
it
it's got
should.
that
As it
sweet
should.
Richard Kane Ferguson art. He's my favorite Magic artist.
Yes.
I love RKF. Okay, you don't have a ton of crazy stuff going on with the lands, but I do want to highlight that similar to basically every other card in your deck, a lot of your lands have modality and utility. You've got the man lands, the Den of the Bugbear, and then the Lair of the Hydra. You've also got this Beseiju, you've got a Sokenzan, you've got Fiery Islet to draw extra cards, the Kessig Wolfgrun to push through damage. I know you love that card.
Yeah.
You've got a Wasteland to, take your opponent off of their important lands or mana, and then an Urza Saga.
Yeah. That saga is practically like a fourth piece of like it's my 11th point. I think that's the only card in my deck that I feel is like just like allows me to play it, and then suddenly I'm on 5 mana on turn 3, and I'm
Yeah,
playing a Glory Bringer, and
yeah,
it's
yeah.
a
I
good
think
second copy of a lot of cards.
Urza Saga in the Mox decks is fantastic, but it's even better in the Soul Ring decks for sure.
Yeah. Yes. And the Ancient Tomb and City of Traders also again like
Yeah, more
uh,
fast mana.
I've almost seen nobody else really like playing that card like in our meta, but those cards in my meta. But again, it just helps hit those questing beasts, hit those initiative guys really fast, and just crunch, 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 crunch
Yeah,
very quickly.
really adds to that the critical mass of mana acceleration.
Mm-hmm.
Last card I want to touch on because I think it's an interesting inclusion is this Caracas.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I wasn't playing it for a long time. Like I think until not after the second LCQ I went to, Travis, our mono white saint, hit me up and said, "Hey, you should really be playing Caracas as just a colorless land because being two color
Right,
doesn't
you
really
don't have to worry so
hurt you
much
that
about
much."
finding that third color.
No, yeah, because another very common theme in this deck is it's like the creatures I think are like half of them are legendary.
Sure.
So you can save your own creatures. Again, it's good against your opponent's creatures. And it's so far it's been doing exactly what it's supposed to do in like all those categories of being just Caracas doing its thing. So yeah, I really love the card. And then also
Yeah.
Kessig Wolfrun was also because he messaged me about just like
Yep.
putting
A
in these
block of
random
cards.
things. Yeah, just Caracas and Kessig Wolfrun and there was a third card. It might have been another lane that I just like cut again because I didn't like
Sure.
it. But yeah,
Yeah.
he swooped in and just told me to like play some of these really good cards and
Yeah, it sounds like it was good
lands.
advice too.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Yeah, and I like thinking about it as a colorless land. Like you're not playing in a white land in a Gruul deck. You're playing it. It's a colorless land. You're never going to use that white mana. All right. So anything else you want to say about Gruul monsters?
Don't play Gruul monsters.
Oh come on, man.
I'm the only one. Um, no, if you're looking as a, I'm very simple minded. So if you're like trying to get into Canlander, and you don't want it to be too complicated for yourself, pick this thing up. It's
Yeah.
very linear. It's very it's very forward with what it wants to do. It lets you do whatever you want to do,
Hmm.
and it doesn't take a lot of thought, so it can let you focus on the other things while you're playing Magic. So yeah.
Yeah, a good solid proactive game plan is right where you want to be when you're getting into format, I think. And also, I mean, even if you're an established player, the I think probably the most pivotal reason that I think this deck is able to close out so many games is because it makes combat math so weird. Like every single creature either has evasion or it does something when it attacks, or it has first strike or double strike, or like it just makes combat super weird. And then you have the berserk and the Legolas's quick reflexes, etc. To really overcomplicate things and like it may or may not produce some crazy board stalls, but then on top of that, you have all these ways to punch through those board stalls and just close the game out. I think grindy mid range games, Gruul Monsters is generally going to come out on top.
Mm-hmm. And usually, if you like going back on like having these like Berserk and Legolas and stuff, you're just mostly always drawing like gas, no matter what. So if you get into those board stalls and you're just like top decking, you're like also just more favored to get out of those board stalls with just everything you're doing again. Yeah,
Yeah.
just to double down on like what you're saying is true.
Hell yeah.
It's very 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 incredible
Yeah.
time.
Gruul Monsters is sick, and
So sick.
I'm looking forward to watching your season this year.
Yeah, I am coming in like
A wrecking ball?
you will not see you will not see a more focused man trying to win something this
Hell
season.
yeah.
I'm coming in hot.
All right. Well, that's not it. We have one more thing to
Oh
do.
right.
We have one more thing to do. This is something very special. So nobody has seen this yet. And
So excited.
I believe when this podcast come out, this will be the last spoiler, the last
Hmm.
promo card to get spoiled, and we're gonna do it right now, here with Cody.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I'll take a guess.
You want to guess what it is?
Yeah, is it a boo token?
Is it a boo token? It's
Yeah.
it's not a boo token.
Okay. I am Time Twister. I knew it. Let's go. That's so awesome. This is so cool. This
Oh
is
man,
so
I'm
sweet.
so excited. I just got to capture your real time reaction. That was
Yeah,
amazing.
this is awesome. Was this already like planned before I said that in the Discord?
Oh yeah,
Or it was. Let's
yeah,
go.
yeah.
That's so
I've
awesome.
been working on this concept for basically the last 6 to 8 months.
Hmm.
I started painting the dual lands last summer, and then
Okay.
I knew that I wanted to do the top 8 as the power cards in the power 9, and then have ninth place be Time Twister.
Heck yeah.
There's a few other cards as well. So if you're watching this episode and you don't know what you're looking at right now, this is one of the Law and Lander Championship Series promos for this year. There are 23 total cards. They're all sleeve playable proxies. If you want to see all of the spoilers and you're not in the Discord, sorry. If you want to see all the spoilers and you're not in the Discord, go look at my Twitter. It's at RUG_LY, and you can see all of the spoilers up there. But yeah,
I love the tie
Cody's
dye. I love
Cody's
the tie dye,
yeah, I
man.
know. Cody's face on Time Twister is the 23rd card. Have you ever considered any other point spreads at all?
So when I picked up the deck, it was Mox Soul Ring, and just it was such a blast doing that. I like casting Moxen was just like so awesome. After um, a long time on Naya Initiative, I was on Soul Ring, Mana Vault, Mana Crypt.
Okay.
So being able to like cast those things with colors was like really awesome. And then
Yeah.
I tried a triple mock spread, which is totally viable. There were a lot of 2 and 3 drops released in like the last 6 months that like kind of pushed me in that direction,
Sure.
but it kind of got stale after a while. I didn't like it. Getting to 4 and 5 was just it was getting a little teensier, bit tougher. The next spread I want to try with the recent point lowers is Mox Mana Vault Strip Mine, because Strip Mine is like a super busted card. Like that card is like unbelievably like
Yeah.
it can shred your opponents to bits like very
Yeah,
quickly.
if you present a fast start and then you just take your opponent off of their colored mana, or just take them off a turn, time walk
Mm-hmm.
yourself. A lot of the times you're able to close that game,
Yeah.
basically from an unlosable position.
Mm-hmm. And then also there's um, Mox Strict Natural Order. Natural Order is kind of cool. Natural
Yeah,
Order is a kind of cool card. You can go get if which again if you play Natural Order you have to like change your creatures up a little bit to be
sure.
like bigger. Um, that's also something some people can try.
Actually, I mean, I kind of don't hate that. I've seen the natural order spreads in the omniscitive decks,
Yeah.
but like being able to go get a Tyrannix Rex, or
Yeah.
I mean, a Craterhoof Behemoth, and just have all those mana dorks overrun your opponent.
Mm-hmm. Also
Seems
5 mana
seems pretty
Throne.
good.
I think 5 mana Throne's like a very strong target as well. That
Yeah,
card is
yeah,
crazy.
yeah. He will close up so many leaks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. He will. He'll put glue in the boat real fast.
Yeah, for sure. Glue in the boats.
Just
Cool.
a paste eater. That's all he does. Why do you think he's silent? His mouth is glued shut from eating so
Oh
much
my
paste.
god, this is solid gold material. Solid gold material. Okay. Listen, everybody, if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel. Make sure you turn notifications on so that we get to annoy you every time we upload a video. We have a Patreon campaign. There's a link to it down in the description of this video. You can go down there, check out everything that we're getting up to outside of YouTube. And with that, I just want to remind you that we're proud of you. Bye.
I'm proud of you. I'm so proud of you. Goodbye.